Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are. Today we're going to have a quick overview of Bitcoin, specifically looking at daily bullish divergences and how that has played out in the past. And what we're looking for here is, have we bottomed? Have we at least created a local bottom where we're going to see a move up as we saw here, 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 and here? Okay, so since this big downtrend started, those are the big moves up we've had. I wouldn't say this is included because that's not that's still part of the uptrend. Once we lost these, once we came down here, the downtrend really started. So here we had a V-shaped recovery. Of course, impossible to get bullish divergence here because it just recovers way too quickly. But here, bullish divergence, okay, right here, and then we had a move up, bullish divergence, and more bullish divergence. So we had a second one over here. It's kind of a double bottom over here, but nonetheless, two sets of divergence and a move up. And then guess what happened here? Another divergence and a move up. And note that we have the MACD ticking up on all these instances as well. And then here, well, this was the last move up. Yeah. So now, of course, we also have bullish divergence. I'm sorry to confuse you with these two sets of orange lines, but this is just to show how this divergence could continue and we could still see lower lows. So we currently have a divergence here, this steep orange line right here. But we could continue if we assume 14 bars for the RSI, so not more than 14, then this from here, this green bar to here is 14 bars. And here, for example, you see this RSI level is here, and this could easily come down and hit 3,000, even 2,855 if it closes there, and we would still be bullishly diverging on the daily. So that's something noteworthy in the sense that, yes, this is bullish divergence and we might get a move up from here, but we could still have this divergence within the same sort of move. You know, we're not going to create a second bullish divergence. We could still have this, continue this divergence and then move up. So it's not like, hey, this is definitely the end, but it's certainly a pretty strong sign that, you know, like, let's just put it this way, we're not going to go down to 2,500, 2,000 now without at least a 10, 15, 20% bounce. Like, that's just pretty unlikely. At least, certainly we're not going to close at those levels. We might have a quick spike down. But as a bear, you know, we're in a bear market. The trend is your friend. So we have our shorts from the Hypofolio set average price around 3,850. We're still comfortable on that short in the sense that, you know, the trend hasn't changed in any way whatsoever. The daily hasn't even gotten close to reaching its previous high. Of course, the 4-hour now has created a higher low. This is very awkward actually, because this candle represents in itself a higher low and a higher high. But, you know, we're still resisting from the 21 EMAs, 21 EMA and the 13 EMA here. And this looks kind of like a bear flag, you know, let's be honest. So there's not too much for the bears to worry about, but entering a bear position now, for example, would be very problematic because where's the stop loss? You know, the stop loss is so high up there. And even as a bull, you know, your stop loss will be all the way down here. So we're really in the middle of this range right now, making it pretty awkward for either party. Nonetheless, bears have the favor, and we're going to maintain our bearish position. Now, that was Bitcoin. So basically, just to summarize, what I'm seeing here is either we have another 1 or 2 days, we can actually literally count it. So maximum of 1, 2 more days of red, after which if we would very likely have another set of bullish divergence, at which point, you know, I'm sure that a lot of shorts will start covering. And of course, a lot of shorts, you can bet, are aiming for the $3,000 mark. So we can assume a lot of them will be closing their positions there. The bears have the momentum, so So that's the first possibility, that we bounce. Sorry, that within another 2 days we come down. It might even be 3 or 4 days. As long as this line maintains this bullish divergence sort of trend line keeps on going up, the bulls still have a solid case for a reversal. So that's one option, that we have another couple of red days and then move up. Another option, of course, is that we come back up to test this line, maybe even have a proper move up. I mean, this is, after all, the divergence which in the past 3 times has led us to a move up. And if we do, then we would probably quite easily reach this $4,500 level, and maybe even create a high, low, and then a higher high, and then come down from there, something like that. But right now, the bears are favored, and I think that it's more likely that we hit 3,000 than that we go up to touch 4,500. Right, so EOS is the coin of the year. I'm trying to catch this bottom. I actually already have a small position here. Actually, it's not that small, it's pretty large. But I will make it exponentially larger, as well, maybe not quite exponentially larger, but I'm going to double it, triple it, quadruple it if we go down. I'm basically dollar cost averaging into it now, because I feel like, yes, we can certainly come down quite a bit, but boy, oh boy, when we bounce up from this, it's going to be a huge bounce. I mean, if we just look at a fib retracement of here, if, for example, this were the bottom, the 382 is a super reasonable place to expect some resistance. I think, to be cautious, you could take some profit here as well already, where we have kind of these several candles which are bottoming out at 2.8. But really, like, if you look at the risk to reward here for a long position, and we target, like I say, let's just be super conservative. We don't even go for the 382, we go for that. And we have our low over here, sorry, our stop loss over. It's so annoying, these massive red squares you can't actually see, but here, look at that. So that's a 3.36 ratio right there, and that's what I've been looking at. I'm saying to myself, okay, well, even, I mean, it's certainly the position isn't that large, because obviously the loss is 16%. That's pretty high, and I'm not sure yet if I'm even going to stop loss out when we break this level, because the move up is just going to be so big when it does happen that it's you're still sacrificing this risk to reward. I mean, of course, if we come down here, you can look at the calculation again. Again, let's just say that that's the target. It's like, even if we come down to here, it's like you still have 2.5 risk to reward, and I mean that's $1. That's ridiculous. It's not going to happen that quick, certainly at the very least. And even if it does hit $1, okay, you've lost. Well, you'll have lost a huge percentage here. You'll have lost 40%. But then you draw this line to the $1. Let's just say, hypothetically, in worst case scenario, that we hit $1 here. Boom, all the way to $1. Well, now the 382 becomes even more attractive level, because we have the trend line resistance, and here, the move up would be, let's see, 200%. I mean, it's ridiculous. And if you would have entered your position here, you'd still be doing okay, because let's say, we come down to $1 and we have a firm reversal, you don't have to take all your profit here. You're just waiting for it to come to make the logical move up. Whatever moves down that hard, which isn't complete trash, is gonna be moving up, right? So that's what I'm looking for. We have, of course, this huge volume climax, very evident, higher high, higher high, higher high, higher high, higher high, boom. And then, we have this, so this is, of course, a bullish reversal candlestick. It would be better if it was green, but it isn't, okay. But then the next candle, solid volume of green candle. And now, we're hoping or we're expecting for a potential bounce here. And if we look at the divergence, the interesting thing is that we don't have it because these levels are so extreme. We had it over here and it just made no difference at all. And that's that can only last for so long. And now we're at these extreme levels. Yeah, it's just a matter of time. But it's all in the execution. You can say, oh, it's going to bounce soon, and it's pretty hard to disagree with that. But the question is, how do you lose as little as possible in making this bottom fishing play while still not being too scared? And my strategy is kind of, well, I believe in crypto long term. I don't think it's going to go to zero, so I'm entering, let's say like 10% of the position here, then I'm going to have 20% here, then I'm going to have like 40% here, then I'm going to have the whole position, I'm going to be like basically all in if we get to $1. So I'm kind of benefiting. I will profit from it if we bounce any point all the way down to $1. And of course I will be in a big loss if we get to that point, but sometimes you just have to believe a little bit, In any case, EOS is, for me the most attractive, and I've got, as I say, I've got some big orders kind of all the way down here, in case it goes crazy down, because if Bitcoin is at 3,500 now, we could come down to 3,000 easily, which would give us about a 15% dump. Now, if Bitcoin dumps 15%, the alts typically dump that much or more. So because EOS is so oversold, I reckon it will either do a double bottom here, similar to how Bitcoin's percentage price action is about 15%. It's actually a little bit less. Here it would be about 13%, but more likely we will have sort of more of a 20% dump down to 1.4-ish levels. And then that would probably give us bullish divergence right there, actually, if that happened within the next couple days, because we could have a higher high over here, or maybe a double bottom. But maybe we bounce from here, and that's why I'm already in a position, because I don't want to miss out on because when it moves hard, when it goes up, it's going to move hard. It's going to be very hard to get in the move on the way up. However, that's not entirely true, because, for example, if you look on the 4-hour, actually, I don't think the 4-hour is going to, sure. I mean, I'll tell you why I entered my first, position is because we have a high here. I got in at the 6, I tried to get in most of it at the 618, 615, and certainly I also got in at the 7. The 786 is actually a more common level for the alts to retrace, especially in this bear market, it seems. So, waiting for a 4-hour high and then betting essentially that the next level is going to be a higher low is a sort of a very early way to enter. And that's what I've done. So I'm averaged out at about 1.7-ish. But it is true that this is still very much a bear flag. And, even if we move up like this, let's say, for example, we have a high where we break this 4-hour high over here, we could still be in very much of a bear flag. Okay, I mean, before it was a bear pennant, bear flag, it doesn't really matter what you call it. They both bearish trends, bearish patterns. And so really, for me for one to think that this is going to break with any sort of level of certainty, reasonable level of certainty, we would have to break this trend line. I think this so far non-existent trend line, because we only have one touch. But in general, you often get these diagonals, these diagonal lines, these parallel lines patterns. So yeah. Let's see how that plays out. But otherwise, I still wanted to discuss my Bitcoin short position. But I'll do that in another video, because this video is already quite long. So that's it for me. Let's see if there's more than 2 people watching today. That would be interesting. All right, have fun, guys. Take care.